In this chapter, we're going to look at how to adjust clip properties, the size of a layer, and the movement, the placement of the clip, and so on. So we have here this logo, and this guy is talking, and he's saying, if you're going to book a trip through California, then you got to go through Explore California. We had the logo here, but it's a little bit too strong, a little bit too harsh. We want to tone this down a little bit. So what we're going to do is lower the opacity of this logo. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an old trick, and this is something I don't typically prefer to use, but it's here if you need it. As you're working with clips, you might notice that there's like this orange horizontal band that goes through both the video and audio clip. And this allows you to adjust certain properties. So we're going to adjust the properties on this logo here, which is actually on video track 2. Now, video track 2 is collapsed, as you can tell by this arrow here. As we can click this, we'll expand it, click it again, we'll collapse it. We can't see that rubber band on collapsed track, so we need to expand this track, and then we get the rubber band. Now, after the name of the layer, it says the property that this rubber band will be affecting. In this case, it's opacity. So this orange band, the rubber band, as they call it, determines the opacity of this clip. Now, we could click this and change this to a variety of other parameters, but I'm going to show you a different way to do that in the movies that follow this one. But for now, I'm just going to grab this rubber band and I could click and drag down, thereby reducing the opacity of this layer, making it a little bit more subtle. Somewhere around 50% is good. You can still see it, especially the California part. You can get that it's kind of like an advertisement, but it's not as annoying and as intrusive as it once was. Now, later on in this training series, we'll be talking about animating properties, and I'll show you how to fade in and fade out, but we're not going to use the rubber band for animation there. So here's how to animate fading in and fading out with the rubber band. I'm going to hold the Command key, and while my cursor is over the rubber band, I can click to set keyframes or set animation points basically. So if I want the first part of the clip to be 100% opacity, I could click and drag that point up. And then let's say I want this to fade out over time. I can click on this next point that I've added and drag this down all the way. By the way, I could also hold Option and Command on the Mac and Alt and Control on the PC to slow this down to get more fine-tuned control over those values. I'll take this all the way down. And now you can see that this point, if I hold my mouse on it, it's an opacity value of 100. Click on this one, the opacity value is 0. So it's going to start at 100%, and at this point, at about 13 frames in, it's going to begin to fade, and by this point, 2 seconds and 19 frames in, it will completely fade out. So let's preview that. Now again, as we go into talking about other properties and animation later on, we're going to be going into ways that I prefer, but if you like using the rubber band method of animation and adjusting properties, then this is how you do it.